Hi, I'm Dave Monty. Welcome to my video series, Everything Villages. However, today we're going to do something outside the villages. We're going to talk about what I believe is one of the best values in this area, and that is a community called Lakeside Landing, so stay tuned. As always, before we get started, if you like this video, please hit like. If you like my channel, please consider subscribing. Both those actions help these videos reach more people, and I greatly appreciate it. Also, if you like a copy of my free 42-page guide, Buying and Selling a Home in the Villages, you can email me right here at davemontysales@gmail.com. I also have a nifty cost of living calculator that you can also email me right here. That guide does include some information about surrounding communities within the villages as well. So we're going to discuss Lakeside Landings, which is a subdivision which is just outside the villages. Now the villages is a city. Okay? Lakeside Landings is a subdivision. I do believe it is a fantastic value. It's actually where I live. I have a little joke that I tell my buyers, which is true almost, is that in here you have about 50% retirees, 25% families, and 25% real estate agents. So I don't know if it's 25%, but there are so many real estate agents in here, and that lends me to believe that they also believe this is a great value. And just mentioning that it's 50% retirees, it's actually probably more. It's probably 70% retirees. There are sections which are 100% retirees, but the sections blend together. So if you live in here, expect to have families around you. Lakeside Landing does not make sense for everyone. It makes sense for people who are into the dining and entertainment. They want golf cart access to the villages and to some of the surrounding amenities. It is fantastic for seasonal residents because you don't have to worry about lawn care, and we're going to get into the details about that. And also for the value-focused buyers. In other words, it is a lot less expensive to live in here versus the villages. So where it doesn't make sense for people is if you golf, it doesn't make sense. If you're into sports, while we do have pickleball and tennis courts and a basketball court, it's not nearly as organized as you would get in the villages, and we've got 2 pickleball courts versus hundreds of them in the villages. We might have a handful of smaller clubs, usually people who play cards, and there's a dance club, I believe, but in general there's just a handful of clubs here versus the 3,000 in the villages. Okay? But if you are looking for a value and you want golf cart access to the public amenities that the villages has to offer, then this place definitely makes sense. Why buyers are looking here, and we kind of mentioned some of them. Lower priced homes. Sometimes up to 25% less for a home that's on a standard lot. You want a waterfront view and you don't want to pay the massive premium you pay for a view lot in the villages, you can get a home here for about 50% less. I know my house is about 2,300 square feet, which is bigger than the designers in the villages. I probably could get 500 for mine. We have a pond view. If I move my house 1,000 feet, just 1,000 feet, this house with the view would cost probably about $1 million. And I am going to do a home tour of one of my listings, which is on the same pond that I live on, and kind of show you the difference in between a designer home and the homes here and the difference in cost. It's also a gated community. So if you're security conscious, it is a gated community. Now, it's not a manned gate. It is an automatic gate. We have little stickers that are on our cars that will automatically open the gates. You do have golf cart access to the villages. You're 45 seconds away, and I'm actually going to show you that as well. And one of the bigger things, lawn maintenance is provided through the HOA. So the HOA fees are a little bit more than what you would pay for an amenities fee in the villages, but it does cover lawn care, and we'll get into the details of that as well. Okay? And this is my favorite thing about Lakeside Landing, is that the location can't be beat. Okay, let's show you where it is. So here's a map of the sort of the northern part of the villages. Here's Sumter Landing, here's Spanish Springs, Brownwood would be way down here in the corner. And I said we're 45 seconds into the villages, and I'm actually going to show you that golf cart ride, but we're about 12 minutes by golf cart to Sumter Landing. And I joke with my parents who live down here, which is considered sort of part of the Sumter Landing area, is that yeah, let's meet at Sumter Landing. We'll get down there and wait for you, because our golf cart trip there is shorter than my parents' golf cart trip there. Up here, there is a ton of shopping. The brand new Costco just went in. There is a Publix, there's a Walmart, a bunch of restaurants like the Bonefish, a bunch of fast food restaurants as well. So you have a lot of amenities. This is all golf cart accessible. To the Publix, you're probably 8 minutes by golf cart from Lakeside Landing at the most. Lakeside Landing has a front gate that gets to here. The back gate, which you can't take your golf cart on, has access to this area. It's a 6-minute drive out the back gate to here. This is where the new Lowe's is. This is where the new Home Depot. There's a new Publix, Winn-Dixie, a bunch of fast food options, gas stations, car washes, all that stuff. So this area is being developed pretty heavily, and you're 6 minutes away by car. Like I said, you're 8 minutes by golf cart up here. Just a fantastic location. I can't say that enough. Again, 45 seconds to the Villages. Here is me in my golf cart driving from the Lakeside Landing gate to one of the gates in the Villages. You can see right there on the left-hand side, that was the Lakeside Landing sign. I'm making a right-hand turn onto County Road 472 or Bailey Trail. And real quickly on the right-hand side, you see the sign for the Villages. So we're currently in the Villages. However, we got another 30 seconds before we need to make a left-hand turn into one of the gates at the Villages. This one happens to be the Lynn Haven Gate. Once we reach that gate, you're about 5 minutes from some of the major shopping in the area that does have golf cart access. Okay? And you're about 8 minutes from Sumter Landing from there, and probably about 20 minutes to Spanish Springs, and maybe about 30 minutes to Brownwood. And that's it. That's how quickly you can get into the Villages with your golf cart. All right, we're back, and let's get into some of the amenities that Lakeside Landing does offer. First, we have a resort-style pool. The Villages have pretty standard pools. They do have a resort-style pool up in the older section in Orange Blossom, but for the most part, the Villages just has standard pool. So here we have a resort-style pool. Down over here, there's a cabana. There are often functions there that are, potluck dinners where you can meet your neighbors. Usually those are about once a month. There's a little hot tub over here. Usually the waterfall is working, and it looks like this was taken early in the morning, so the waterfall hasn't started yet. You do have a couple pickleball courts and a tennis court. Plenty of people play pickleball. Some people play tennis here. You don't need 100 courts to play on. You need one. But in the Villages, there'd be a lot more people that play pickleball. A lot easier to find people to play pickleball with. We have a workout room here. In the Villages, there are maybe 4 or 5 rec centers that have workout facilities, but that is an additional monthly fee to use those facilities. We do have billiards, there's card rooms, there's also a larger gathering area. There's often themed parties and events held in that larger room. It's called Lakeside Landing because it is on Lake Meona. This is Lakeside Landing here, and let me show you how close the Villages is. Here's the Villages. Okay, so these are some of the premier homes in the Villages overlooking this lake. These are going to be in the millions. These are going to be in the low 600s. These are bigger homes. Okay, these are going to be anywhere from about 2,000 to 2,300 square feet. These are going to be anywhere from like 2,300 to maybe 3,500 square feet. So these are bigger homes, but if you're looking for value, it's down here. Some of the homes do have an obstructed view like you would get in some of the preserved views in the Villages. Okay, so, but if you're looking for lakefront, this is the least expensive way to get it in the area. You do have dock access. People fish off this dock, and we also see people launching kayaks off from this. You're not going to get a motorboat in over here. But having said that, less than a quarter of a mile from the entrance of our gate, there is a public boat ramp access to this lake. Let's talk about the different types of homes here. When you first drive in, there are condominiums. These condominiums are about 1,200 square feet. They have downstairs units and upstairs units. Retirees tend to like the downstairs units for obvious reason, no stairs. These are 2-bedroom 2 bath, and they run anywhere between about maybe $230,000 to maybe up to $280,000 if you happen to have a pond view. Then there are duplex style homes here. Now you're only buying one side, you don't buy the entire duplex, but you buy one half of it. They're about 13 to 1400 square feet, 3 bed, 2 bath. They run maybe $250,000 to $260,000 for a home with a standard lot. For homes that are on one of the water views or pond views here, you probably expect to pay right around $300,000. But $300,000 for a water view is a fantastic value. Then you have designer level homes. These run anywhere between 1,600 to 2,300 square feet. There are 3-bedroom and 4-bedroom options. They are usually built a lot better than what you would get in the villages. The builder grade is a little bit higher here than you would get in the villages. These homes are going to run anywhere from $320,000 up to maybe $500,000, $550,000 if you have a view and it happens to be a bigger home. And then probably another $100,000, $150,000 if there happens to be a pool. What I'm going to do now, this is one of my listings. It might not be a listing when you watch this, meaning I filmed this in the summer of 2026, but I'm just going to walk through one of my listings, and it's not professionally done. It's not meant to sell you, just meant to point out some of the features. I have it listed at $399. It does have a water view. If it was in the villages, I would say it's going to be worth between $750,000 and $800,000. So just want to point out the difference in some of the homes between here and the homes in the villages. This is very comparable to a designer. It's about the same size as a Lantana. It is listed for $399, and it has a view. I'll show you that in the back. First thing is you have a paver driveway, which is a huge upgrade in the villages, and you'll notice that all the homes in here have paver driveways. Okay. Next thing you'll see is that it is stucco. It does have a little bit higher garage doors, nicer fixtures than you would typically get in the villages. I'm just looking at the lights here. You come up to the front door, and that's an 8-foot door, which you only get in premier homes in the villages. When you walk in, kind of notice the high ceilings, but this house is being sold turnkey, so I'm going to point out the furniture. You do have a nice size coat closet in the front, which is rare in the villages. As you walk in, just like the Lantana, what you'll notice is that on the older style Lantana, they did have a wall right there kind of separating the kitchen a little bit. That wall can always come down if you wanted to, but just notice, again, higher 12-foot ceilings in here. Also, you get the 8-foot sliding glass doors in the back, which make a huge difference. We will go into the kitchen. They do have quartz countertops, stainless steel appliances, and you get the taller cabinets as the uppers here. In the Lantana, that little angled wall coming down actually makes those the shorter cabinets. You do have a nice size closet pantry as well there. And that is the garage. A garage is a garage, so I'm not going to go in there. And nicer appliances. All this stuff is what the builder put in. Okay, let's look at the eating kitchen area while we're here. Really nice. Now we'll go back up front. Again, turnkey, so reclining sofas. The Lantana does have a bigger front bedroom, okay, but this is still very good sized, and you are at about 10-foot ceilings there, and then 12-foot with the tray. But this is still a good sized bedroom, like much bigger than you would get with a gardenia. Notice the transom window and taller windows in here. All right, look at the other room. This room is bigger than the second or the third bedroom in the Lantana. Notice high quality furniture. Look at the guest bathroom. Those quartz countertops. Size shower and commode room. Now let's go into the master, and we'll get to the view in the back in a second. Okay, in the master, just to give you a sense, that is a king size bed. You have plenty of room on either side, as well as you have a bump out there with the bay windows that kind of look out to the view. Again, $399. All right, we're going to the master bathroom. You do have decent size walk-in closets on either side, his and hers. You got dual sinks with quartz countertops, nice tall shower, and another commode room. So let's go out to the back. Another thing that you'll notice here, this isn't enclosed, but it can be enclosed very easily because you only need to close out the back wall, is that you have higher ceilings out here. And you've got the wider 8-foot openings on the top, so you can really take in the view. You do have a nice pond in the back. It is a retention pond. In the springtime, it does get a little bit low. I actually live on this pond as well, and I've been here for 6 years, and it's never been without water. But you just see, it's really nice and relaxing to sit back here, you know, cue the ducks. I don't know if you can see them there. Actually, I'll zoom in for you. You know, family of ducks there. So there's a lot of wildlife, which is just nice and relaxing back here. I hope you get a sense of the difference in home that you get here in Lakeside Landing. Again, $399, almost 2,000 square feet with a view, high ceilings. I didn't even point out the crown molding that's in here. So a lot of upgrades, great value. Hopefully you saw the value there and some of the things that are a little bit above what you would get in the villages. Other cost other than just the direct cost of the home. Property taxes are just like the villages. We're in Sumter County here. You do pay a Wildwood tax. It's the same exact tax structure as you would get south of 44, where they're currently building. You pay the Sumter County tax as well as the Wildwood city tax there. There is no bond here in Lakeside Landing. And the Villages has a $200 a month amenities fee. Lakeside Landings HOA fee works out to about $330 to $340 a month, depending on which section you live in here. But it does cover more. So the big thing is no lawn maintenance. You're going to save on water bills. You don't have to worry about mowing, no trimming or edging, no weeding. And I said, well, maybe because they don't weed enough in here, so often we're picking our own weeds, but they do come through maybe once a quarter to pick them. You don't have to worry about fertilizing, and they'll bring in mulch 1 to 2 times a year, depending on which section you live in. In general, it's about a $200 value if you were to pay all of those things. So here's the quick summary of it. Home prices in Lakeside Landing, they're lower, much lower. Waterfront value, very strong. Golf cart access, yes, 45 seconds into the Villages, 12 minutes to Sumter Landing, 8 minutes to some of the shopping areas up near Publix and Costco. Have town square access. You have access to country club dining in the Villages as well. There is no golf here. Right, but there are there are other places you can play golf. Club and recreation is limited. The outdoor maintenance is mostly free. And the reason I put mostly free is that one thing that you do have to take care of here is trimming of palm trees, and that comes out of the owner's pocket. Okay? But again, this community is fantastic for the seasonal owner, someone who wants to come down and enjoy the weather and the eating and dining and golf cart access to the Villages, but does not want the lawn maintenance. If you are a golfer, this place doesn't make sense. If you're big into sports, it doesn't make as much sense. But in general, if your lifestyle isn't centered around sports, this is a fantastic value. As always, that last bit of housekeeping, if you like this video, please hit like. If you like my channel, please subscribe to it. Also, here's my email address, davemontesales@gmail.com. You can get a copy of my free guide, Buying and Selling a Home in the Villages. Again, that guide does have information about other communities that surround the villages as well. Well, I hope you found this informative. I hope to see you around the villages. Take care.